All right, a law firm that led investigations into the 2016 election is fighting back against President Trump's new executive order that cuts federal ties with it. CBS News Department of Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane is joining us now live from Washington to speak more about this. Scott, help us understand exactly what these executive orders are and how exactly these law firms are fighting back.
Hey, Errol, the day began with a legal explosion here in Washington, with two major firms filing new lawsuits as the courts opened here in Washington, challenging Trump executive orders that targeted the firms. One of them is called Jenner and Block. The other is Wilmer Hale. Those sound like some very obscure companies, but these are major D.C. law firms. And the impact of these lawsuits and these executive orders could impact the entire nation. Wilmer Hale was the subject of an executive order last night, trying to strip them of their ability to do business. The president arguing they are politically motivated lawyers who should have their work reduced. Jenner and Block, different firm, same story. The president says Jenner and Block should have its ability to function removed because he alleges that they too are politically motivated. Both are suing now in federal court, Errol, calling these executive orders unlawful, First Amendment violations, and that they could have a chilling effect on law firms nationwide that want to avoid running afoul of the president, making them less inclined to take cases for people who might be challenging what the administration is doing. If you have trouble getting a veteran's benefit, a Social Security check, you lose your federal job or have some back pay issues, it may be hard to find a lawyer now to take up those cases because firms are being squeezed by the White House. This is an impactful day in Washington as these firms try to fight back and have judges declare these executive orders unlawful.
And what we saw from a statement from one of those law firms, Scott, was that it's connected to former special counsel Robert Mueller. The law firm notes that he retired from that firm back in 2021. But are there wider concerns now that this executive order is out, that the president is taking retaliatory measures against firms connected in any way to anyone who might have investigated him in the past?
Yeah, and there's also concerns, Errol, this will metastasize into other firms who have any affiliation with the firms already on this list. That this can be something that spreads farther and wider. The president has argued that these firms have employed people who've investigated him or taken legal actions against him. He calls that lawfare, and he thinks these executive orders are justified. What do? They strip security clearances from some of the lawyers, or they prohibit the lawyers from going into federal buildings or getting federal clients. That's a death sentence for many law firms. They can't survive those types of restrictions. Take a look at this quote to CBS News from former Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta, who tells CBS News these legal challenges being mustered by the law firms are critical, if not pivotal. She says the only way through this attack on the very foundations of our legal system is by fighting back. If firms want to be trusted to fight the biggest fights, they must not cave to blatantly unconstitutional government actions. This is a broader issue, Errol, than just these law firms. If the administration is cracking down on law firms in general, it becomes hard to find a lawyer to challenge the federal government.
Remarkable updates there, Scott. I want to ask you about another major development out of Washington, and that's a potential merger between the ATF and the DEA. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, the ATF, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, the DEA, the Drug Enforcement Administration. A source familiar with the matter tells CBS News there's a memo circulating inside the Department of Justice about merging those two agencies into one. The Trump administration and its Republican allies have been keen on cutting back the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms. They've not named its own director for that agency. Republicans believe that agency too often encroaches on Second Amendment rights. This could be a way, Errol, of paring back the ATF and starving it of resources.
The reshaping of the U.S. government under President Trump. Scott MacFarlane with the latest for us out of our D.C. bureau. Scott, always great to chat with you. Thanks very much.